Hi friends. So today we are with Kamlakar Shenoy, a very close and dear activist friend whom I have known for about 10 years now. And Kamlakar is something of an expert on how MADA is cheating the public and how MADA is enabling builders to earn more money than they should lawfully earn while depriving the project affected people, the people dishoused. The directions given by the Bombay High Court is to register FIRs against all the MADA officials who are involved in this scam last 37 years.
Right.
So which would include a lot of people who may have retired
Also. Absolutely.
Right.
In Mumbai, we have got old, dilapidated buildings which are prior to 1940. The owners, the occupants, and the government do not have any funds to reconstruct the old, dilapidated buildings, and which was endangering the life and limbs of the common man. So, government came up with a noble idea of amending the MADA Act, and it was known as DCR 33 subsection 7. The old buildings could appoint a contractor or a developer who would construct the building free of cost, and by this amendment the developer will get 50% incentive FSI. But in most of the cases in Mumbai where the plot is very large and there are few tenements, the builder gets a larger chunk. It is almost 95% of the rehab area. He has to part with 5 to 10 or 15% of the excess area to MADA, which shall be taken as project affected tenements to house the citizens of Mumbai who have lost their houses in the development projects or road widening, or if it comes in between any major projects which the government or the corporation has undertaken for the development of the city or the area. Please understand the difference between rehab and PAP. Rehab is your building is been demolished because it is dilapidated and you shall be housed in the same project. And PAP is your house has been demolished or your building is demolished and which cannot be reconstructed for want of space or for widening of the road. In that event, these flats which shall be handed over to MADA shall be used for those citizens who have lost their houses. After getting information through RTI, I have come to know that there are surplus area which was to be surrendered to MADA and which was to be used for PAPs, and the area is around 1.37 lakh square meters, which amounts to around 30 lakh square feet of sellable area as calculated by a developer. However, it could be seen that since 1982, the surplus area has not been recovered by MADA. At least 15,000 houses. It would have 90,000 people having house because one family consists of 6 persons. So 90,000 people could have got houses. 30 lakh square feet of saleable area by the developer has been misappropriated and has been not taken over by MADA. The MADA has formulated a specimen agreement which has to be executed by the developer in favor of MADA regarding the surrender of surplus area. And before this surrender of agreement to surrender surplus area has to be executed. Mind you, it has to be executed.
It's compulsory.
Compulsory prior to the issuance of NOC. And this is recorded and stated in the specimen agreement which is there with me.
Issuance of NOC for what?
For development. Issuance of NOC for redevelopment of the building shall not be given prior to the execution of the surrender agreement of surplus area. And in that agreement, things have been very nicely drafted to the extent that the rehab component and the surplus area shall be handed over within 30 months, which no one knows. Any of our citizens who are deprived of their rehab component within 30 months, they should approach MHADA and try to prosecute the developer as well as MHADA for causing them harassment. The agreement also clearly states, para 13, mind you, it is para 13 of the surplus area agreement, where it is said that the developer shall hand over the surplus area before making an application for getting NOC to rehab stroke sellable. That means what? Any occupation certificate, maybe rehab or OC, whichever comes first.
Maybe rehab or sale component.
Yes, sale component cannot come first. Rehab. So the rehab component also cannot be occupied without surrender of the surplus area. So how can such 500 developers be allowed to occupy the buildings illegally without occupation certificate, without surrendering of surplus area, when the law requires the executive engineer to visit the site every month and record and direct the developer to act accordingly, and which is binding on it. So this again proves that the MHADA and builders are in connivance and have caused wrongful loss to the public at large, to the tune of 90,000 people. The surplus area was to be collected or recovered by MHADA at the time of giving NOC for grant of occupation certificate for rehab occupants. Before the rehab occupants takes over the possession of the building, the surplus area has to be surrendered to MHADA. But what the MHADA officers have played mischief is, they started saying that the rehab components is not important, but the PAP has to be given only at the time of occupation certificate when it is issued as a sale component. It is nothing less than economic terrorism of looting a common man.
So let me just simplify this for our viewers. So what you are saying is, correct me if I am wrong, over the last 37 years,
around 2020 projects have been developed.
2020 projects.
Yes.
After having developed the project, they did not hand over 30 lakh square feet to MHADA. They allowed the project to be occupied fully
Without occupation certificate.
without an OC. So they have done wrong with the people who have bought the flats even under sale component.
MOFA also.
So they have committed MOFA offense. They have deprived the sale component people of the benefit of OC.
So it amounts to cheating.
It also deprives the rehab component people of their due, because again, without OC their building is not proper, it is incomplete. They have been paying higher water dues
And property tax.
Because there is no OC. So
the liability of the paying of these taxes are of the developer till he hands over the property conveyance to the society.
right. So in order to basically escape the network of the law, these builders have not handed over conveyance to the society. They have deprived the society of the conveyance. They have deprived the society, the sale component as well as rehab component of OC. They have deprived these people of the cheaper water and lower property tax rates. Further, they are not paying property taxes. They have shifted the burden onto these people. And they have not handed over surplus 30 lakh square feet to MHADA. That is 90,000 project affected people would have gotten houses. There is a backlog and 90,000 people have till date not gotten it because MHADA has allowed the builder to basically sell it off. Basically, he has sold it off.
Yes.
These
Apart
builders
from
have
this, there is another fraud.
Okay.
That MHADA permits them extra incentive FSI with change of law from 2 to 2.5, 2.5 to 3, and while doing so, they are well aware that the building has been occupied without occupation certificate and without surrender of surplus area, and still MHADA gives them incentive FSI. That means the builder is getting n number of times, it is not 50%, 100%, n number of times profits. In fact, the MHADA should have started prosecution against the developer and the architect and the project management consultants, but They turn a blind eye, and that is the reason the Honorable High Court in my matter has directed to a registration of FIR as their role is clearly disclosed.